Namaste, everyone. Hope you're well. I want to share a short practice with you today, but it's using one of my favorite yoga props, a bolster. It's basically a big, firm pillow. Yoga bolsters are a lot easier to find now than they used to be. You can easily find them online. And we're just going to do a few poses with it. This is my cat, Frank Sinatra, loves the bolster as well. We're going to do a few poses with it today. Just something that when you want to do something a little more chill, it's definitely a yin influence with a hint of restorative. So we're going to start out by sitting on the bolster. So just find your comfortable cross-legged seat. Cross-leg doesn't work for you, by all means feel free to take another shape. Bring your palms over your heart center. Close your eyes. Let's take a deep breath in and a big falling out exhale. Let's do that again. If you feel like you need to do that a couple more times, feel free. So this practice with the bolsters, this is good for those times when you need bolstering, when you feel like you need a little extra support under you, you need something to bridge the distance between you and the floor. And we're going to do some heart openers, we're going to do some twists, we're going to do some relaxing. Frank's going to probably walk by a few times. He seems very determined to do that today. Now, your breath, you want it to stay pretty chill here. You know, you're not doing a ujjayi breath or an even breath. Just try to breathe in these poses. We're going to hold each pose about 3 minutes. So the first actual pose we'll do is sort of a supported fish pose. You're going to take your bolster so that it's running along the long side of your mat. And then you're going to just back up into it, back that thing up. So you want your low back bumping up onto your bolster. And then we're going to lie back so that your head is on the bolster as well. If you need to scoot a little bit away from it, that's fine. I'm going to grab my timer here. We're going to set it for 3 minutes. Now, your legs, you can either have them straight out like you would do in Shavasana. You could bring the soles of the feet together. Sometimes I like to just kind of cross one shin over the other. And your arms could be alongside you like they would be in Shavasana, or you can have letter T or goalpost kind of arms. And maybe the first several rounds here of your breath, you think about your ribs and your chest expanding on the inhale and falling on the exhale. I'm going to make an effort to not speak a lot during all these poses so you can really enjoy them. If you cross legs, change them. Just about 15 more seconds here. If you straighten the legs or cross them or soles of the feet together, go ahead and bring your feet back to your mat. And then just let your knees drop to either side and let your arms come with you. So you kind of slide off the bolster a bit. Then we're going to come up. We're going to turn the bolster the other way. So now the bolster is going to run sort of parallel to the short edges of your mat. And you're going to bring your bottom rib cage, just take your pick, onto the bolster. Your legs are going to be bent. You're going to come down. You can either make a little pillow out of your arms. If you have a block nearby, you could use that. You could keep your front hand here, or you could wrap it behind you. And again, just close the eyes. If at any point you feel like you want to straighten the legs, you could do that. About 20 seconds on this side. So you can roll onto your back and roll to the other side. I'm going to come up and switch mine over to the other end so you're not staring at my back for the next few minutes. So again, the bolster is under your rib cage, other rib cage. Don't do the same side twice. And then again, you can use the pillow of your arms here, or you could use a block or an actual pillow. It's good side body, rib opening poses here. have a bit more than a minute here. So then you're going to bring your hand back to your mat so you can slowly make your way up. You did two big side body poses there. So just find a comfortable seat. You might even bring your hands to your ribs and take a deep breath in and a big exhale out. So the next one is one of my favorite poses. It's a little bit of a twist. So you're going to bring that bolster back to the position we started in, where it's running parallel to the long side of your mat. You're going to bump your hip right up to your mat. Let's get our timer going here. And you're going to frame up the bolster with your hands. Your legs are kind of sort of side saddle here. And then you're going to bring your chest and head down onto the bolster. And I have to take my glasses off to do this. I've got my right hip against the bolster, so my right cheek is on the bolster. Some people can do this and get their left cheek onto the bolster. So if that's you, go for it. Otherwise, just settle into this nice little easy twist. Then bring your hands to your mat. You're just going to lift your torso up. I like to just go right onto the other side here. So just do a little pivot so that you get your left hip or opposite hip onto your mat. Again, frame yourself up here first. It's a little bit of a lift and a twist. Then lay down onto the bolster. Your hands back to your mat. Again, bringing the torso up. This time let's come up into all fours here. And if you feel like you need a little movement, you could do some cat-cow, or you could just stay in tabletop here and kind of let everything sort of reintegrate. Bring your big toes together. Take your knees a little bit wider, maybe as wide as your mat. Shift your hips to your heels. We're going to bring the bolster directly under our torso, so you can just kind of bring it back as far as it will. And then we're going to just rest our cheek on the floor. I'm going to bring my arms alongside my body for this one. You could take the arms overhead if that feels better for you. Switch cheeks. hands back to frame that bolster. Coming up onto that tabletop pose. Again, maybe there's a little movement here, a little cat-cow. Then last pose we'll take is we're going to take our bolster all the way to the end of our mat. If you have 2 blocks, you could put 2 blocks up under the mat and then bring your heels up onto it. Or you could, if you have 2 bolsters, you could stack 2 bolsters on top of each other. And sometimes I'll take the bolster, kind of turn it up like that under my knees. And then we're going to come down onto our back. Find a position here. Take a deep breath in, big breath out. Let your feet roll open. Let your palms face up. This is a particularly good pose to do at the end of the day if you carry a lot of your tension in your low back. Encourage you to stay here for as long as you like. You could stay here another 3 to 5 minutes and let that be a shavasana for you. Or if you feel ready to come up to a seated position, feel free to do that. Like I said, the bolster is one of my favorite props to use. I think a lot of times we're resistant to props because we feel like it lessens the pose. But for these poses, it's perfect because it will just really help you to sink into it a little bit more. Now, if you don't have a bolster, or don't want to invest in one, if you have yoga blocks, you could put yoga blocks together in a blanket or a towel over it and recreate most of these poses with that. Or if you have like a body pillow or even just like a really long bed pillow, you could do that as well. So I have fun with the bolsters, and this is a great pose again at the end of the day or just when you're feeling really stressed and you want to relax. I hope you can take part of this. Thank you for practicing with me today. Namaste.